isn't it? Or nobody ever noticed that. Nobody ever, maybe because you have beard and I don't have. So they don't see any similarity. But I see similarity. I see similarity in our complexion. You never notice. We have, because there's different kind of tonation of tone of skin coming from Africa and from Nigeria, but we come from the same tone of skin. Even though in my own family, different people have different tone. I don't know if your family, all of them have the same.
Almost the same tone.
Oh, okay. So we have the same tone of. Then the shape of the head sometimes reminds me of a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so now, tell me your story. There is something we call this scripture. We call this program that even though you grew up in a Christian home. But growing up in a Christian home, you believe you are a Christian.
Yeah.
Your dad was a pastor.
Yeah.
You were actively involved in the church. But from what you know of Christ now, and you had been pastoring for 4 years, and you said, from what you know now, the way you know Christ now, it's only 2 years ago you got born again. Really, you got to know God. You got to know Christ for yourself. So pastoring for years, being a Christian for years, but got to know God just now, just 2 years ago. Do you think that a lot of Jews might be in that same predicament without even knowing it? They might just have been as religious as you are when you were in Nigeria, and they don't even have an idea that they don't know Christ.
Yeah, apparently, because...
Well, you didn't know when you were in Nigeria.
I didn't know because, I mean, they were my heroes.
Those Jews.
Yeah, they were all my heroes. I mean, that was...
You used to follow some of the... You used to admire and follow some of these Jews.
That was the model we had.
Can you mention a few of those names that you
used I know. I used to admire Bishop Oyedepo a lot. I mean...
Bishop Oyedepo?
Yeah, Bishop Oyedepo. I used to admire... Oya Kilome. I used to admire Oya Kilome. I used to admire this Adeboye. All of those top guys. As a matter of fact, even those three top guys. Yeah, and some other. The picture of success of ministry. I mean, being a Nigerian. If you want to describe whose ministry do you want your, I mean, if you feel like you want to be a model after, how does the people we mention? You mention Oyedepo, you mention Adeboye, you mention Oya Kilome. It's now that other people are coming up, like, because when I was still in Nigeria, I wasn't hearing so much about the NHS, about the Suleiman, no, we're not hearing so much about Suleiman and all of these guys, no. But it was the Oyedepos, the Adeboyes, and the Oya Kilomes.
But maybe Sam Adeyemi.
Sam Adeyemi, yeah.
Or Rock. Church or Rock.
House on the Rock, Adefarasin. Yeah. I said Adefarasin. I didn't really know so much about the Adefarasin because Adefarasin, I mean, they just started their thriving now. But the fundamental ones, the ones that were the pictures, I mean, the forefront, that were like, this is ministry we are seeing. These guys, I mean, look at their congregation, look at how many people they have. People that are following them.
Vanity upon vanity.
That was, I mean, ministry was like, you have to organize a conference and millions are packed. And then you see when Pastor Chris too, he does like this, and people fall down. You're like, that power. Yeah, I mean, you watch me like, I mean, just like this, and people are
vanity upon vanity.
That was the picture of ministry. I mean, that was the picture of.
Those were the things they were using to mesmerize you people.
Yeah.
To brainwash you.
Exactly. And then they must wear white ties. They wear white suits. They're like, I'm wearing now.
Maybe that's where you learned your own white. Maybe you were having the dream of wearing white suits.
White suits. Because that's how it was.
The picture of success.
You see Oyedepo. Bishop Oyedepo, they wear white suits. Oya Kilome too, white suits. Then Benin too, white suits. Like, these guys want to be white like them. I want to have their kind of, I mean, that was the picture that we had. But I never knew that it was all vanity, it was all a mirage, and it was all religion. Yeah. So that was my, and for me, considering the fact that I was raised in a very, I mean, I won't want to describe it as Christian, because now I understand what Christianity is. But for lack of better words, I would just say pseudo-Christianity. Because I know, I mean, my parents, one of the things that I am eternally grateful to God for them is that they raised us up entrenching those right values. In as much as we were in a religious settings, but they tried with their own understanding to raise us up, I mean, valuing God. Although I couldn't really even say that I knew God personally, like I know Him right now. But they just made us realize that God is a necessity. And there are some important character traits that you would see in the person that loves God. For example, I was raised never living with my nuclear family. I mean, there was never a time like I can remember when I was like, it was only myself and my siblings and my parents. It was either an uncle was in the house, or we had aunties, or we had church members that were coming that they didn't have anywhere to live. So they will come and stay with us in our house. My mom will have to cook. I mean, what I should have eaten alone, mom will say, we are going to share with this person, and then this person is coming to come and eat today. So, I mean, from childhood, I could see this trait, this character, this value of valuing people, helping people. However, the only sad thing was that I leave the house, I go to church, you understand, and it's all religion.
But it's just now you know that.
Yeah, just now I realized that because obviously I was very active in church. I mean, lived all my life in church. Everything was church. I was literally a church boy.
What was the reason?
Yeah, it was because I mean that was the emphasis now that I mean you have to be. That was the proof of your Christianity that you are committed to church.
You didn't have a personal relationship with God?
No, I mean even the personal relationship was religious because I mean you had to wake up in the morning.
But that's not personal relationship.
No,
those are just duties.
Those are just duties. I mean, wake up in the morning and do devotion, all of those stuff.
That's not personal.
It's not
personal.
No, not personal. It's just 2 years ago.
That was not emphasized.
No.
But you became a pastor.
Yeah, I became a pastor with this warped thinking. My picture was I had to be like powerful like these people. You understand?
But you still didn't know this.
No. This, I mean,
personal relationship with God.
At all.
Even though you became the pastor.
I was a pastor.
So what did you want to do with the pastor? What was your imagination?
Of being a pastor, I mean, that time was, you as a pastor, you have people that you have to, teach the word of God, encourage, and then also try to seek, fast and pray, get power from God so that you come to church, you can give word of prophecy, or you can lay hands on the sick. And people are like, the service was powerful. Why was service powerful? Because pastor prayed and people were falling down under the anointing. That was the picture.
Where did you get the idea from that people have to fall down?
That was the picture that we had. Yeah, because service is not wonderful if there is no form of demonstration.
So what did that give people?
That just gives us. That for us, that was like God is present, and that was like. It was like,
No, but if somebody falls, whatever that person got, what happened to him? Did his life, he fell and he woke up and did his cancer go?
That one is not, that's not the focus. The focus the focus is that...
It doesn't matter what happens later.
No, the focus is that...
He hits that ground.
In that service, people are falling at their...
His body must hit the floor.
Yeah.
So after his body hit the floor, finish.
That's it. No,
nobody cares.
That's no. And people are falling. No, the falling down thing was very strong that time because people.
So you were making people to fall down.
We have to just. I wasn't very big. I was really looking forward to that time, but I never hit it because for me, I was more into. I was a lover of the word and I was more into teaching people, but I was also looking for that additional thing that because. Yeah, because I was like, maybe people will not really value just teaching them, because.
But what are you teaching people if you are a pastor?
Is this what they taught us? And what we learned.
Who taught you what?
I mean, it was just more like you open your Bible, and what you are reading is what you've once heard. Okay. It's just like repetition. Yeah, I mean,
what you heard from those people you admire.
Yeah, you admire, and then also some of the things that you just some little revelation that you just try to look for, and because people
speak your own English,
and they speak your own English, and then rephrase it, and then do all of that,
and add some grammar to it.
Yeah,
and some vocabulary.
That was
and the white suit.
I will call you pastor. No, because I mean, this is so sad, because I'm laughing now, but I'm crying, because many people who are my counterparts still view ministry like this. Yeah, they still view ministry.
You go and pray.
Yeah, as you have to fast and pray so that you can receive, some sort of anointing for God to greatly anoint you, so you can begin to give words of prophecy.
No, you can fast and pray. That's no problem. But for what?
But it's for demonstration of power.
Why?
Yeah, now I understand that it is for egoistic reasons.
Yeah.
But formerly I thought it was, that is what validates that you are called of God.
But it's egoistic.
It's egoistic. It's egoistic. It was late. Many things that there was one time that God literally just destroyed my whole idea of all of these things. And he asked me one simple question. And he told me that, boy, he said, son, all of these things you are doing, you are fasting, you are praying, you are reading your Bible. What if you stop being a pastor? And there's no church for you to pastor again. There's no people to tell all of these things. Will you still be doing this thing? You're not thinking of there's a Sunday coming, or there is somebody that is sick that I will have to lay hands on and the person receives his healing, or there's someone that I will need to teach the word of God. Let's assume that it's only you, and there is no church to pastor, there is nobody to minister to. Will you still be doing what you're doing? Will you still want to seek me? Will you still want to read the Bible? Will you still want to fast and pray?
But there was no need for it. There's nobody to give anointing.
But there's nobody to give anointing to. And that was
power. Nobody to demonstrate power.
So that was one of the questions of God. And that was around this time too, like 2 years ago, while I was still pastoring.
So what about what shook your theology? How did that start?
My theology, wow. I think one of the first things that I'm really grateful to God was because I experienced, and I really sold myself so much into the Christianity that we have in Nigeria. So, from a very tender age, I wasn't the child that was running away from church. I was the child that was entering into the church. So I experienced a lot of the rubbish. It's one thing if I was like a truant, not really into church. So I wouldn't really experience what the church and what Christianity looks like. You understand? But I really gave myself wholly to church. There was a time that I was still a student here. I think around my first year, second year, I used to attend like 4 services every Sunday. And these are 4 different.
Even though you were a medical student,
I will attend like 4 different services. So I pretty much was into this church stuff. I tried everything possible. So, and then I realized that which product have I produced in my life? That was the beginning of my journey. That okay, I have been in church all these years. I've been doing so and so. Okay, and okay, look back and just bring one thing, one tangible thing that you can say you have produced.
Apart from being a student.
Apart from being a student, and apart from even what you're doing in church, all of those church activities. okay, all of your church activities that you have been doing, I mean, you're always this, you are here, you are in this program, in that program, you are playing the instrument for these people, you are playing the keyboard here, you go and play the drums there and everything. Okay, what's tangible? What is that thing that your life has produced that you can say, look at what I did in 2010, 2011, look at the result I had. And I looked back and I'm like, there's nothing. There's nothing I could say that
religion is robbing people in Nigeria, in Africa.
I mean, you're just soaked into activities. You're just so busy,
and you cannot see any result.
There's no result. There's no fruit. I mean, there's no fruit. Just look back and say, okay, what have I done? Okay, all of my 52 Sunday attendances, I never missed one. What is the result at the end of the year? What can I hold on to and say, okay, this is what I've done, and my name is already on it? None. So I got the rude awakening when I asked myself this question. I know, okay, what have you done with your life so far? What results have your life produced? And I didn't find anything. I'm like, no, there's something wrong.
But you couldn't still point it out.
I still couldn't point it out.
In this your note that you wrote your article, it's written here that during my undergraduate years in Ukraine, I had heard of DSA and even stumbled on some of his videos, but I didn't really pay attention to him. Could you explain this?
Yeah, I mean, as a Nigerian student, it's almost impossible for you to be in Ukraine and not hear about Dr. Sunday Adelaja. It's almost impossible, especially if you're a Christian. So when I came to Ukraine, there was a branch of your church in campus there. So I heard about you but I was busy with what I was doing, so I didn't even have time to even check you out. I was busy listening to Edipo, I was busy listening to Ayakilo, man. I mean,
even Ukraine.
Yeah, even Ukraine. These guys they were the ones I was listening to, believing I was educating myself and developing myself. So I didn't have time to really listen to you. So yeah, I stumbled on some of your videos. I remember there was a time I stumbled on one of your videos.
But that was normally preaching in Russia.
Yeah, but this one was a documentary of yours, where you were reaching out to the Russians and how you were able to. I mean, so I just looked at it and I'm like, this is nice, this is good. Oh, this is Dr. Sunday. Good. Let me just continue my own life and the way I've been doing my thing. I mean, let me just keep on going to church. Let me keep on serving in ministries and keep on doing what I'm doing. So I didn't really even pay any attention to you when I came to Ukraine. I didn't even. Just what?
And the majority of the students are just like that.
I like that. I told Victor recently or some time back that many Nigerian students, and I'm not saying this to just. I know what I'm saying. That they'll go back to Nigeria, and at some point they would regret that they never got to, just to associate with, not just with you, because associating with you is a different thing, but to associate with your teachings and with
at least go familiarize.
I mean, here in Ukraine that you don't have to pay anything for internet. Internet is cheap in Ukraine, but that you come to Ukraine and you would go back and you would not listen to these truths. I mean, it's a great misfit, a great disservice to yourself. And that's how many students here in Ukraine are. As a matter of fact, many of them, even if they want to, their pastors will not even allow them to even listen to it. Yeah, because if they listen to the truth will set them free. And if they are set free, the business venture of these pastors here is going to run out. So
these people, student pastors who are in charge of them,
will not allow them. They will give them STEM, will not even watch.
Okay, so how did your own transformation begin? Because first of all, you are not paying attention.
Yeah.
So what shifted that? What corrected that?
Okay.
How did that change?
So I think my life started getting or making sense in 2000 and I think it was 2014. When I stumbled on Miles Monroe and I really loved, because he was saying something different from all of what my other models were saying, like in Oyedepo, Oyakilome. This guy was talking something different. So I'm like, this guy sounds very interesting. And for me, what even attracted me to him was the fact that I could learn how I could maximize my life. And then he was talking kingdom, but I was not really hearing kingdom. What I was hearing was how I could maximize my life. I could discover my potential, because he has books on potentials and all that. So Miles Monroe was someone that I started listening to. As a matter of fact, that summer I was in Nigeria, 2014, and throughout that summer it was Miles Monroe I was listening to. I had to download his videos and his audios, and I was listening to them throughout summer. So that summer was the beginning of my whole mental revolution. However, it was cut short because Miles Monroe died.
That same year?
That same year.
November?
Yeah, November. So I got connected with Miles Monroe. I was listening to him, reading stuff from him, downloaded his free books on the internet, trying to discover my life and things like that. But then the guy died. So the day I heard that he died, I was like, I didn't even go to school that day, because I was like, this is the guy that I've been, why would something tragic like this happen to him? I had questions. Then I just saw your video and you were talking about Miles Monroe's death. So I said, okay, what could be this? I mean, what is this man going to say about Miles Monroe's death? And then I stumbled on the first video, and you were talking about why good people die tragic death, and why you were saying things like you want to die young, and it's best to die young than to die. My conclusion was that I have told you this before. Like, this man is not, he doesn't know what he's saying. I was like, man, you have missed it. That was this man saying. We are saying Miles Monroe and his wife, they were traveling for ministry. I mean, they are traveling for ministry, and they died a very tragic death. And then you are coming out and you are saying whatever you're saying. So I was like, what are you saying? I'm like, what are you saying? So I just took it off. Then I saw another video again. So it was as though this man is really serious on this Miles Monroe thing. So then I stumbled on the video again, and then I watched it again. And then I'm like, okay, let me just listen to this Pastor Sunday Adelaide, what he has to say. Then it started making sense, small. But I didn't really grab it. But let me just listen. So I kept on listening to. So I followed your series, teaching about it.
3 series I did.
Yeah. And I'm like, this man is making sense, but maybe not quite. So that was the first thing that made me listen to you back to back. I'd never listened to you back. There was no connection with me and you. But it was that series with Miles Monroe that brought in I was starting to okay, this man is saying something that I've not heard before. And then it's kind of making sense. But I couldn't really still grasp my head around it, because my understanding of death that time was, death is tragic. I mean, you shouldn't die young. And even after you're going to die, you should just sleep and wake up. I mean, you should just sleep and wake up in heaven. Not like die like, air accident. So that was the first encounter I had with you. And then I didn't listen to you again for a period of time.
Just say, this guy.
I just okay, he has said his own. So let him continue.
That's exactly how many people will identify themselves.
That's
how many people.
Yeah, because it was against all I knew. You understand? It was against all I understood. It didn't sound like something that would make sense. I mean, it didn't sound like something that made sense to me. I'm like, what's this man saying? How would you say that dying young is better than just living old and there's nothing attached to your life and things like that? Wow. So I said, okay, you have said your own. Let me just continue my own life.
Because a lot of people will identify themselves now to what you are saying.
Yes.
That's how many people still respond to other teachings, my teachings.
Yeah, because they are against. They are just the other way from what we have been taught. and what we have learned all these years. You're just bringing a whole new paradigm to everything. I'm like, I thought this was how it was meant to be, and you're saying, no, this is not how it's meant to be. Oh, this is actually how it's meant to be, and this is how Jesus taught us. And then I remember that series you're talking about Jesus. Jesus did not live long. He just lived that many years, 30-something years, but till today, his impact is still.
But it still didn't convince you.
I'm like, no, Joe. I was still deep into my church things, so there was no time. There was no time to really face. I was really into. Let me just be doing ministry as I understood ministry. Let me do ministry as I understood ministry. Let me just be doing my own thing. But like I said, Dr. Miles Moore really helped me with his teachings. But he just gave me a whole new perspective that, hey, there's more to what you have been doing. You can actually maximize your life. You can actually do something with your life. And fast forward to when I think the next
encounter.
Yeah, the next encounter I had was when I left. I was already in Lviv at this time. Lviv is a state in Ukraine. So then I heard some people saying that they wanted to
among the students,
yeah, that they wanted to go to for a student training with Dr. Sunday Adelaja. I heard that was 2015 summer.
A year later,
yeah. But I was not interested in going.
Why?
Yeah, because I'm like, what I was gonna do, I'm like, I wish training. I was still pastoring my church. I didn't go back to my church and got me pastoring. So I didn't go, but there was some.
You didn't wonder who are those people who are even going out there? They didn't even think about it.
No.
This is how many people live their life. They don't take they just
let me just
following their own routine.
Let me just go back and continue doing what I'm doing. What I believed, and the truth about it is that I believed that what I was doing was the best, and I was doing the right thing. And I think that is one thing that most people will resonate with. That, until you really see what the truth is, you keep living a lie, thinking it's the truth. You keep living, because for me, I just thought that what I was doing at that time was the right thing. And you know how one can be sincerely wrong. That was exactly my case. I was sincere. Really sincere. If you ask people, like, I know you so, but I was sincerely wrong. I didn't have the right, accurate understanding of how things should be. So
no knowledge
of God.
No understanding of God.
No understanding of
Even
God.
maybe that concept was strange. How can you understand God? How can you don't know God?
One of the things that really helped me was the series that you taught on prayer, on how
personal relationship.
on personal relationship, and how I can feel I can feel God, like, and
just with you.
With me, I could feel Him hugging me.
Yes.
So that time I started practicing this in church, and I was teaching my people that okay, see, beyond songs, I want you to just see God, picture Him,
practice His presence.
Practice His presence. Just look at Him and feel Him hug you. Feel Him. Let Him just feel like He's touching you right now, and He's rubbing you, and He's telling you, "My son, I love you." No song. Don't play any song. No music. Just picture Him right there. You can sit down. Picture Him seated right by you, holding your hands, practicing His presence. I never thought that for me it was not like that, because for me I could just sing songs, worship songs, but I never really knew what it meant to really practice the presence of God
and touch Him,
to feel Him. To feel His embrace.
But without that, there is no Christianity.
That's why I said I just became a Christian 2 years ago. I just understood what Christianity is.
So in Africa, they don't teach people to walk with God like that?
No. At all, because all we have is just...
So people don't touch God.
To just feel good. For me, it was a wonderful experience. And as I was on stage, like, I could really feel good while I was doing what I was doing. Because, you made God real. Even while you were teaching it, I could feel it while you were teaching it, because you were like he's there as your father, he's hugging you. I'm like, can that really be it? And you told us when you were teaching us that, hey, as I'm doing, I want you to practice it where you are. And I was practicing it in my room, that where you are, just be there and picture God, see him. Just whatever picture you want to have about him, just picture him and see him hugging you. I'm like, hugging me. So just picture him hug you. Picture him, or picture you lying down on his chest and him talking to you, telling you how important you are to him, how beautiful you are to him. I mean, for me, I never understood it. I never experienced that personal intimacy with God, because that was not the picture, that was not the emphasis that we had. Emphasis was on power, was on all other things, miracles. There was no emphasis on love on God. Be with him, be intimate with him, hear his voice. You know, when I started practicing the presence of God, it became very easy for me to hear God. And for me, it was like, for me, it was just easy for me to just hear God and for God to even, I mean, I don't have to even struggle. I was with someone one day, and just because of my intimacy with God, the person was standing right beside me, and I could just hear God telling me, speaking words to my heart for that person. And then I turned to that person and I said, this. And the person was like, how? What? How do you know this? And I'm like, I didn't even go to pray and fast and it happens to me anyhow, anytime, because I'm already like one with God. I just go to somewhere and I don't have to even struggle for God to give me a word concerning a person. It's just like my friend. I'm just like that. Anything.
So what are pastors teaching if they are not teaching?
These are the top messages, and it's all about egocentrism. That's the thing. It's either the focus is on enemies, that they are evil altars, or they are enemies who.
So instead of the focus being on God,
is on enemies. So it's
instead of knowing God,
you're just focused on Satan, on the plans of the devil, on waging war against things. So it's all about enemies.
Instead of intimacy.
No. So much focus on enemies. If the focus is not on enemies, the focus is on how to turn God to become your ATM machine. That you just want to. I mean, the reason why you want to draw to God is for God to bless you, and then
instead of
loving him, of just being with him, just being with him, just having that intimacy with him,
one with him.
Yeah. So
you don't even want to talk about.
You just think it's all about
the possibility of every Christian being one.
No, at all.
Maybe I'm listening to you now. Maybe I have to teach how to do that.
Yeah, on how to
build intimacy with God, how to be one with God.
Yeah,
on how to know Jesus.
Yes.
Maybe this series of love bring this something. Maybe this series of love. No, because this is not just love. You know, it's a series on knowing God.
Yeah, knowing and understanding God. You know, you made a statement one time that for some time I thought it was an exaggeration. That you said you feel God. Just think with your skin like this is close to you. That's how you feel God.
Yes, that's how
God is to you. That he's as close as your skin. I'm like,
not even, it's closer than my clothes.
Than your clothes. When you were explaining, you were teaching all of those stuff, and I started practicing it. So for me, all of my big dreams of what ministry should look like, of everything were just shattered. That all of this doesn't matter. Does not matter. I mean, formally being a pastor, you're thinking of how you should. You're thinking of how you have a huge congregation of people in your church. I mean, you want to do. I mean, how many people do you have in the church? I have like some 100 people, 200 people. That's what makes you feel like, yeah, I've done something.
So what should I be feeling then?
Then you have to ask what. And that's the starting about campus ministry. To many people that do ministry. I mean, you look at them, you go to church. How many people do you have in your church? Maybe maximum. There's no church. There's no church campus in Ukraine that has over 200 members in one service. There is none. But then it's as though they've arrived. Because that's the idea that we've been taught, that ministry is in numbers. That you have to have a lot of people. You have to perform wonders. You have to do miracles and things like that. So,
well, you didn't go to that meeting.
Yeah, I didn't go for the HLT meeting.
Okay.
So, but there were some people that went from my church. I mean, there were two of them or so that just were. They came for the meeting. I think it was. Yeah, there were two of them, but one that came.
From your members?
My members. Yeah. So when they came and they came back, and they were telling me about it, that, it was great though. Amazing. Like, what was it? So they were just telling me plenty of things that, wow. And they were telling me about you, that, you welcome people. And I didn't watch online actually. I think they just told me, gave me story
about it. I was
doing
online.
Yeah. So, then they told me that the next one was going to be January.
So they were telling you that there must have been something that touched you in the way they were talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
because you know these people, you pastor them, so
yeah, so
you know that what is making them excited while I'm with you all the time,
exactly.
You and you are not excited like this.
Yeah, they came back with you just like there's nobody that comes for HMT. I mean, at least for the first week after HMT, you're on fire.
Okay.
I mean,
so they came with that fire.
I mean, without you can't understand that became the talk everywhere. Yeah. I mean, if it's talking, they're talking about this subject.
And you are listening to them.
Like, hey, tell me about this. Tell me about this thing you're saying.
But you saw the change.
Yeah, it was apparent that these guys really had an encounter. Yeah, they were an encounter. So they said it was,
and it was with God, not just someone.
No.
So this was real thing.
Real stuff. So I got interested. I'm like, okay, if you went and you're my member, I mean, I'm pastoring you. I'm your pastor and you're my member and you're speaking like this. I'll have to.
So that I will not. The son of man no one will remain behind.
So I'll be behind. So
there should be something there.
Yeah, there was something there.
But what was your own expectation?
My expectation was, I mean, I just wanted to
find out what
is really about this stuff. Like, what is really about. So I was really gingered though.
That could there be something?
What's even really about this training thing that they're talking about? And some people were like, this man is wonderful. So I came. So like, can you even see what it looks like? So I came in for the training. Like normal stuff now. You sat down for the training expecting to see, okay, what will happen? Maybe, okay, I was thinking that we're going to have like some prayer sessions, you understand? Although he didn't mention that they had prayer sessions, but I was thinking maybe there will still be.
So that is the normal Christian. What kind of Christian
program that will come and will not follow that they're meeting? They have to be full now. So I was coming expecting that okay, something like that will happen. But man, that HMT.
No, your first days and encounter.
Yeah, my first encounter was.
So you were expecting sitting down.
I was sitting down, like, okay, what was going to happen? And then you came in, and that time I don't know if you do it now, but you came in with a shout, so like I'm around or something like that. So and then everybody was like, you're greeting everybody. I'm like, hey, because I've not seen you before. Like I've not had any encounter with you. And then you went around, shoot people, greeted them. I said, okay now.
What were you thinking at that?
Oh, this is the best I've seen on television, no?
What does that mean?
Like, it's a big man, because obviously, I became interested in your stuff, so I started making some inquiries about you. What do you do? And so I'm like, this man has this big amount of people, 20,000, I think that. So I was like, this man is big and great. And then I used to say your colorful suits. I'm like, okay, let me see this man.
Just to see.
Just see him. Let me see him. I just know what he looks like. Yeah. So at that HMT was on understanding.
So the fact that I was greeting people was...
Yeah, I mean, the fact that greeting people was what...
I just didn't know why you emphasized.
Yeah, I emphasized that because, I mean, that's not obtainable. Because, generally, I would have thought that you wouldn't be around for the training, that maybe some of your junior pastors would conduct the training. But I got to know that you were around from this my member. So that one, because normally I would have thought that no, he's too busy. Maybe it's just his name that he used to organize the training. But if you come for the training, it's not really, you'll not see him because he's the big man.
Is that the order?
That's how it is now.
Okay.
I mean, that's how you don't get access to the big men. You don't get access to them. Getting access to them, you have to be someone of a very high status, or you are someone that has a great offer for them. You are coming with your envelope to give prophet offering and pastor's offering. But yeah, you were. I mean, you were just there. You came up simple, greeted everybody. I mean, with high five with your. I mean, your laughter was good. I was so happy because I also have a very hilarious laughter. So when I came and I saw the way you were laughing, I was like, amazing. I have a partner that would laugh as hilarious as I am. Yeah. So you were laughing, you gave people thumbs up. I mean, it was a very cool atmosphere, amazing atmosphere where you would not even feel like you were inferior. Yeah, because, for example, you talk and then you tell people, what do you have to say? Come out and share your opinion. Come out and share your opinion. And that's what you did. And I remember it was the first day, I think it was the first day or second day, that I decided to come out to share
just to risk it.
To just risk it.
You had seen some people had come out before you.
Yeah.
You had allowed some people
to come out.
To assess the...
Yes. So people came out, they talked, they introduced themselves. So that day I remember vividly. For me, this was a life-changing point. As a matter of fact, I have that video on my laptop. I cut it out. That I will come back and reminding myself of it. So that day I said that I want to introduce myself differently. I don't know if you can remember. So I said I want to introduce myself differently. And I said my name is Ujan Oluwapo. And I continued talking. And I'm a proud Nigerian. And then you were like, what did you say? I'm like, I said my name is Ujan Oluwapo. And you were like, how do you expect me to grasp your name? So you're like, no, you said you want to introduce yourself differently. And you just said your name very long like that. Even me that I'm a Yoruba man, I could not understand your name. How much more people that
from different nations.
Yeah. So they now,
and it's true,
yes, you couldn't understand, and then you now told me that, hey, if you want to say your name, you must say your name in a way that the people that are hearing your name would get it once and they would always remember it. So you taught me how to introduce myself. And he said, he said
it took the time out of the whole.
You just focused on me. I was just there standing like this. Yeah,
out of the whole conference.
You just stopped the whole conference for me, and you're like, and that was how it was actually. There's full proof with video. You stopped everything and you focused on me, and you're like, no. If I was you, this is how.
Was it like rebuking you?
No. It wasn't rebuking. It was more like
fatherless.
Like there must be a reason behind you wanting to say you want to introduce yourself differently.
Okay.
Because that's what I said. That was my first statement. I said I want to introduce myself differently. my name is Ujonrapo. So you're like, if you want to introduce yourself differently, there must be a reason. So let me know your name. So he said, if I were you, this is how I will say my name. My name is Ojo Anoluwapo. But you can call me Anu for short. That became like, some of my members were watching, so that became like my name for like 1 or 2 months, that they were calling me Anu for short. Because that was I said, okay, so you can call me Anu for short. So you said no, that you must know how to introduce yourself in a way that people will remember you. So Ojo Anu Oluwapo, and you can call me Anu for short. I said, alright. So after you taught me that lesson on how to introduce myself, and I said, okay, so now continue. So then I started speaking. I remember very well that while I was talking, because I was appreciating you and telling you, and I was saying a lot of things actually, and then I remember that you stood up, and then the whole hall stood up when I was talking. And after I was done talking, so you were now asking me more questions about that. Who are you? Like, because that was the first time you saw me. So you were now trying to know who I was. Like, who are you? What do you do? So I remember you asked, like, what do you do? Who are you? And I said, I'm a medical student. And you're like, hey, all of you are just medical students. What's wrong with all of you? I mean, all of you are medical students, everybody medical students. There's some other people that knew me there were like, he's a pastor. And you were like, I'm not impressed. Like, you're a pastor, so that being a pastor does not mean anything. Hey, I was just thinking, pastor does not mean that being a pastor is a big deal.
People were thinking it's a big deal.
Yes, I mean, I thought it was a big deal, and everybody believes that being a pastor is a big deal.
Why?
Because you're a pastor now. I mean, you're anointed, and you have the title of being a pastor. So
so when I said it's not a big deal,
yeah. For me, it was like, what do you mean there's not a big deal? like I mean, being a pastor, I have a great reputation of where I'm coming from. A well-respected young man. I mean, well respected with a good reputation with people that I know, pastor, very good boy, doing things like that. You're like, I'm not impressed. Then you started telling me what you see. You're like, no, don't just start for being a pastor. I see you as a light bearer. These are the words we're using. I can't forget them. He said, I see you as a light bearer. I see you as a touch house. I see you as someone who should bring illumination. These were the words with. I mean, I could show this video. These were the words that you said. I said, I see you as a light bearer. I see you as a touch house. And I see you bringing illuminations to the mind of people. These were the words, and I was hearing this one. I'm like, wow.
So that is much more serious than just
positional
as a pastor.
Of a pastor. So for me, that experience was a huge pointer to who God has made me to be and what my destiny should be like. And that's what I'm doing today actually. So what happened after that? And then we went through the whole training on understanding. And after the training, I said, Anu, this was my statement.
To yourself?
To myself. I said, Anu, you have not been living now.
You woke up.
I woke up. I said, you have not been living.
You woke up.
I was like, you've just been existing as a
so you got that
in agency, that understanding. Because what you were saying was like, give me understanding that I may live. And you're like, without understanding, life is useless. And I mean, at the end of that agency, it just dawned on me that I've just been merely existing all of my years, and I have not been living. So I left that agency telling myself that no, I know you must start living.
Of the so-called Christians.
I just like that. I mean, that's just the reality. That many people are just going through the motions. The current of life is just directing them.
And I think that should be the basis for the book Mind Shift.
Yeah.
We will just use the example of a young man. I know who was the whole story. I built around it because it will reflect on who other people are. They will be recognizing
themselves.
And that was those same material that woke you up.
Yeah. So useful for it. And because that was what happened to me. For me, it was like, no, I know you've been just existing. You are not living. And that was when God told me.
After 3 days?
Yeah.
Or?
After at the end of, I mean, it was
6 days?
It was not 6 days because
4 days.
So like 4 days because for students we had to go back to school. So we came from, I think, Wednesday to Saturday. So that was it. So then when I got back home and I was meditating on what I received, then God told me this, that because I used to think that my life was okay because I was not smoking, I was not drinking, I was not sleeping around, I was not going to clubs, I was a pastor, I was doing well in my academics, my life is okay, I'm not wasting my life. And then God told me that all it takes to live a wasted life is to live a purposeless life. Because I used to think that I'm not wasting my life because I'm not smoking. Oh, the people that are smoking and people that are drinking and people that are passing are the ones wasting their life. But me, I'm not wasting my life. I'm being a pastor, I'm doing all those things. Then he just told me, he said, all it takes to live a wasted life is to live a life without purpose. Then that was when my journey started changing. Then I started listening to your messages. I started reading books. Formerly, I used to tell myself that I'm not a book person. That was the
No, you're not possible.
Pastor. I now tell myself.
What does that mean? I'm not a book person.
Yeah, I tell myself.
So I'm what? I'm a pizza person.
No.
I'm a McDonald's person.
That's what life.
KFC person.
That was what I told myself that.
Then you have to do a video on that.
Yeah, I tell myself that.
Teach people.
Yeah.
I'm not a book person. I will do a video. You should do a video and title like
I'll work on that.
People will recognize themselves.
Yeah.
Or even a book, write a book.
I'm not a book person. I tell myself that, oh no, I'm not really into reading books. Yeah, I don't read books.
Wow.
Yeah, if I want to read any book, and if I'm going to read any book at all, it's a spiritual book. Yeah, it's going to be a spiritual book on the Holy Spirit anointing, how to get power, how to become a distinct. That's what I'll read. But to read books that will develop, no, I'm not the book person. So what happened was, after the whole encounter HMT, then I saw the need for reading books. So
I think we have to tell people that the next HMT is coming up in April. From 1st to 8th. Yeah, first. We have to arrive on the 1st to 8th of April. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happened was, I go back and then I tried to change. I tried to make things better, but it was not very easy because, I've been really into this religion stuff.
So your lifestyle.
Yeah, my lifestyle. It was not very easy to change because, how would I do this? How would I bring it up? So there was this summer, and that was 2016 summer. Yeah.
Just last year.
Yeah, last year, 2016. Yeah, just close by. Then I told myself that, boy, you're getting to your final year. So you have to, at this point, know exactly what you're going to do with your life. So I decided to go into solitude that summer. And I set a target for myself that I'm going to try to read at least 6 books. For me, that was a big target. At least 6 books in those 2 months of summer. So I was like, I know you must read at least 6 books. When that summer finished, I read over 20 books.
Wow.
And that was where, the light bulb came on.
What kind of books were you reading?
I read some of your books, and I read, because I read books more about purpose discovery. Because I was like,
who are the people?
Yeah,
Miles Monroe.
Yeah, Miles Monroe's books, and then some other books that I could find on the internet that was all about purpose. I mean, just look for free PDF books on purpose. Just download. So I said, and that was before even UMI came out. So I didn't want UMI then. It was later that I got to UMI. Then it was that summer that things became clearer to me. That, oh, I know this is why you are here. This is the reason for you. I mean, this is, you're not here for this purpose, we are here for this purpose. This is what you should be doing. So I started writing down. So I went into solitude and I started penning down, okay, I know what are these things that you, I mean, it was so helpful that, I mean, it was 2000 and, there was this summer that we had an interview here about how I missed my calling. Mm-hmm. Which summer was that?
It was after summer.
It was after school.
That was October.
Yeah, but I know I was here during that time that there was that series, and then even your teachings also now helped me. I mean, those concrete questions. I
started doing live broadcast too.
Yeah, I started doing live broadcast too. So it helped me to really discover myself, not to just narrow myself that I'm a pastor or I'm this. So I began to discover myself. And then my life started making sense, because now I started looking forward to, okay, what am I going to do with my life? Okay, now that I'm a pastor, but is it just about preaching in church I should be doing? What other things am I going to do with my life? What other things am I going to focus on? Okay, for my life, read just Bible and maybe some other books, but now I started reading. My thirst for knowledge was just bam. Me that was said I couldn't read books before. In 2 months I read close to 20 books. Because I was just there reading, adding knowledge to myself. I mean, just trying to just know more, seek more, develop myself more, just build myself, get myself self-educated and everything like that. So that was how the journey just began, and then my life just started making sense. So my paradigm started changing, my perspective started changing. So what I used to think was the ideal, what I used to think was, this is what ministry should look like, or this is what my life should look like, it started changing. And then, I started listening to your messages constantly, following your live shows. There was this time I was in my room, I was like, what have I been learning all these years? At one time, I was literally moved to tears.
What was going on? You were listening?
I was listening to your message. I'm like,
to my message live or recorded?
Live. And I was like, how come I've not heard all of these things before? How come I've not heard these truths all my life? And I was like, wow. As I was just moved, I was like, no. This is just too good to be true. That there's this kind of knowledge out there, and there's someone that knows this kind of things. I couldn't even believe it. So it was very easy for me to throw every other thing out and to leave. It was also just like what Jesus Christ said, that when you find a land or you find treasure, and you go and you sell every other thing that you have just to have that treasure. Because I could see my life, sir. I was in Ukraine for 6 years, and there was nothing tangible I could say I had done. But within that time frame of meeting you and going through self-education, I was to go into my final year of medical school, and final year medical school is not a joke, because this is your final lap. You want to make sure you finish strong. But in 2017 summertime, 2016 summer, 16 summer, was when, from my discovery process, I discovered that I had a passion in helping people discover their purpose too. And I was really interested in how can I share this discovery that I have gotten with other students, because I had other students that were also living mundane lives, and they were picturing me like I had gotten it, and I'm like, you guys are thinking my life is okay, but I'm just discovering that what I was doing before was not even it. But now I have an understanding of what it means to live a purposeful life. So I look for, okay, what can I do with students? And so within just that time frame, I started a school of purpose and destiny. And in this school, and I was in my final year, I never even thought that I could organize a school to train people. So what did I do? I went with the materials on Facebook and other materials I'd gotten, And I sat down and I built a curriculum, like a school, on how to train people from step A to step Z on how to discover their purpose. So I just went around and I did my survey, and I just gave an invitation to people around that, hey, there's a school I want to start, and if you're interested, I can help you discover your purpose. And I think there were close to like 16 or 17 people that registered. And I mean, the results that I got. One of the students I trained, she invited me back to Lviv to be on a show, because it was from there that she discovered that she had a passion, a burden towards, releasing the truth about life by being a presenter. And she discovered that herself has been a television host like that, something like that, and also a passion. So she invited me and she was like, please come back. I've started my own projects, my own ministry. This is what I'm doing now with my life. So I saw the result that came out from other people that were with me, and I trained them with just the things I learned. And I'm like, wow.
And you had been a pastor before, and you didn't have this result.
I've been a pastor with like, I didn't get any result like this. Never. So for me it was even, I couldn't even believe it. And even coupled with that, just just by the way, I never even thought it possible that I could do something that would be able to bring in change, small money for me, by delivering a service, a product, and I would get money. I never thought I could do something like that. But with the school, I just said, okay, as students, you guys should just bring in some small change so that you could use.
So that it's not payment.
Yeah, just something small. And bam. I looked at it and I'm like, hey, I didn't siphon any money from anybody. I didn't beg for money.
You didn't do that.
I didn't do tithe and offering, no. But this is money I got
for your work.
For my work. So it was like, hey. Just by sitting down, discovering my purpose, converting my purpose into tangible products that can meet the needs of people around me, I can get money. Wow. And what did it take? Just what I had known, the materials I had gotten, I just converted them to a curriculum, and bam, that was how the school operated. So that was like, I was like, wow, my life is making sense now. It's meaningful. It's changing. I can see product now. I can say, okay, this person was in my school. I have a school, and this person was a student, and this is a life product that I do not have ever. That look, there's a school of purpose and destiny, and these are students that are now, they didn't understand what purpose even meant. They didn't understand what it means to live a purposeful life, but now they are charting their course, not living like viral masses. Products. I never had anything like that. Wow. Then I continued from there. Then I organized a conference to help in answering, practical questions to students. Organized conference. And this I was doing because as a pastor, you just want to make things spiritual, and everything should just be around church. But this was me. I told members that this is not church, this is not spiritual. This is not your religious meeting. This is something that is going to help you practically. So if you're interested, come. It was different. So just like I now remembered what you were saying, that hey, I'm not impressed with you just being a pastor. There's more to you than being a pastor. You're a pastor, go. But there's more to your life than being a pastor. Why do you need to say by being a pastor? Why do you need to say by being on the pulpit when you can impact lives? Even from that school I had, many of them that I was training with, people that were not in my church. People that were not in my church, people that would never have heard me preach or teach. They came for the training. And I taught them, and people from other churches. I'm like, so my life can be this meaningful. I never even thought. I just doing the normal, usual things. My life started making sense. And after I organized that, then over the period of time, people started noticing that this guy are different though. Things are changing. I know what was happening. Now now you're talking more about purpose. You're talking about calling. You're talking about kingdom. Because I was one person that, I used to listen to Prophet Dollar too. So Prophet Dollar Prophet Dollar is the grace, and Joseph Prince are grace. So all I just knew was the gospel of grace. I never understood that I never knew there was something like gospel of the kingdom. I never even knew that of the whole kingdom message. I don't know. Mine was just you were saved by grace and receive that grace and become saved. That was all. So, and that's the reason why it was just a show within, just within church, that's all. No societal impact, no thinking of how you can be of use to humanity. It's just about church and just get people saved and come to church, and that was it for me as at that time. But then I started understanding the kingdom. This is new. Then things started changing. And some of was like, Pastor, what's happening? So when you listen to DSC like this, hey, you're not doing the usual
deliverance.
Like organizing prayers and things like that.
Anointing,
all those things. Now you're talking about purpose, you're talking about calling, you're talking about how we can expand the kingdom. You are emphasizing on personal relationship, teaching people now that they can maximize their life, not making them feel like they have to come to church every Sunday. Because I used to tell them that you don't come to church. Sometimes people like, how will Pastor Nubi say that I don't have to come to church on every Sunday? It was no, we're meant to be in church and things like that. Some members, they would miss church, and because of the mindset that they had, if they see me coming on Monday and they're that's Pastor Nubi coming, they just try to quickly escape. I'm like, no, because that's the mindset that we had. Very, very, very terrible mindset. But over time, I started evolving. My paradigm began to change of life, of ministry, of what things should be like. I started producing results. I became bold to even stand for the truth. Some people, they look at me like, Anu has changed. Like, what has happened to Anu? This is not the Anu we knew. This is not Anu. Anu, you're not talking like this on Facebook, right? So, friends who just left me. They're like, no, Anu, you missed it now. As someone would like, no, Anu, you have missed it. But I look at them, I'm like, I know where people are now.
Because I was there.
Guys. People are looking for power. Me, I saw for power too. Victor knows. 40 days I went fasting
for power.
Just wanted to do this space power. 40 days I went. 40 days. I said, no. Hey. Well, I have to seek each. They said the price is to go fast and to sacrifice yourself. I will fast this fast. I fasted 40 days. Victor was with me there. You say, I know what to do next time. I say, I'm fasting. How many days? I'm going 40. I'm going 40. Yeah. But going into, we have to get this power. This anointing, we must get it. But now, looking back, I'm like, vanity upon vanity, and ignorance, big ignorance. So, huge change, huge deliverance. Now I speak with my dad, it's just there, listening to me that, no.
Is it true?
I said, sometimes you not want to talk about it, you just be listening. Now you say that, you say that's my prayer. My prayer is that at least my son will know better than me and I will be able to learn from him. So they will sit down and learn. Talk to him and say that this. There was a time I was talking to him and I was like, I know what you are saying here. I'm meant to call the general overseer of our church and you're meant to see him and talk and discuss with him. That's what he said. The way you're seeing now, General Official should hear this. Because what you're saying is the truth. Because that's not what we've been doing all these years.
The other one you had been a pastor for how many years?
I can't count now.
Before you were born?
Yeah, they had been deacon, from deacon became a pastor, and
he has been in ministry for years.
And I'm beginning to share some things with them, and they're like, what you're saying is true. True.
In just less than 2 years.
And 2 years. No, the transformation was intense, because I was really seeking, because I knew what it meant to be at that side. I knew it was not profitable. So you could not even tell me otherwise. You could not even convince me not to want chase what I was chasing, because I knew, what are you looking for that I've not done? Is it to seek for power? Is it to prophesy? I've given exact prophecies. People are like,
people are falling down.
I've done all those things.
The power.
I've gone to some of the administration. I didn't even do anything. I just stood in front of the person just said that. I'm like, is it power you're looking for? No power. Is it to heal, or to give word of prophecy, or to lay hands on the sick for them to recover? I've laid on, but I discovered that this is not it. That is not. That's going to be like an addition. It should follow you, not what you're seeking for.
That's a big deal.
Not a big deal. But thank God for the revolution. Thank God for the change, and for the light that and the truth that has come, that has really delivered.
So what are the kingdom fruits or plans that you might still be having?
Yeah. So one of the things that I said earlier is that I started an initiative called the Mind Revolution Initiative, and this initiative, it comprises of many other things. There's a plan, and it's basically to bring illumination to people, to the minds of people. Okay. Bringing illumination to the minds of people, and this illumination would lead to transformation in their lives. So it is illuminating minds, transforming lives.
Good.
That's what the initiative is about. So Mind Revolution Initiatives. So it is under the Mind Revolution Initiative is the academic part. So the academic part is where the School of Purpose and Destiny falls into, where we're bringing illumination to the mind of people about their purpose and everything like that. Another thing is the Mind Revolution talk that I'm doing now on Facebook, where this is where I'm just speaking on certain subjects to just bring illumination to the minds of people. And so that what I've been doing right now. I've been talking on Nigeria and our value systems, and that has become my new identity. Yeah. So Mr. Values. So I've been talking on Nigeria and our value system, and how Nigeria can be transformed by virtue of their values. Apart from this, also I have an organization, an initiative in Nigeria that is aimed at reaching out to the down and out, to the hungry on the streets, and it's called Feed a Soul Nigeria. Yeah, so I started it this year, January, after several consultations and deliberation on how to effect it. So it's called Feed the Soul Nigeria. For me, it's a huge goal, it's a huge plan. The picture I have and God gave to me when I got it was so profound, and I see it as an organization that would help in reducing poverty and hunger to the barest minimum in Nigeria.
That nobody should go to bed hungry.
That there's nobody, nobody should go to bed hungry.
That's what I said to myself initially in Ukraine some time back.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the vision of that, to make sure that nobody is hungry, and we are feeding a soul. So for us, a soul is important, and that's why it was called Feed a Soul. Just one soul is very important. You must feed one person. So I started January with my team members in Nigeria, and we've been able to start with little steps in reaching out to the hungry in First Town, because the dream is to have a resource center in every local government. So this is the idea that I have, in that in every local government there is going to be a resource center, at least one, and this resource center is going to have a kitchen and a food bank working hand in hand. So there's going to be a kitchen and a food bank. So the food bank will have raw food to disperse to people who have the ability to cook, but they don't have foodstuffs to cook, and they are suffering, or like maybe widows, orphans, that they have a house, they have where they're living, they have gas to cook, but there's no food. We're giving them raw food. And then the kitchen is for the people that are on the streets, that there's no way they can cook, but we're going to give them cooked food so they can come and eat in the facility that we have. But we don't want to just give them food to eat, and that's why it's called a resource center. We want to also have a training center. So the idea of the training center is that we'll give you food to eat, but you not only eat food, we're going to train you, so that you will not just be depending on us to eat, but we're going to train your mind, bring illumination to your mind, so that while you are feeding from us, we're teaching you also how to fish. So we're giving you fish that, hey, take, so that you survive, you won't die, but then we're going to empower you on what you need to do to get yourself out of the streets, to get yourself out of poverty, and so that you can also be an impact and go back to help people that are on the street. So that's the idea of the resource center. So a food bank and a kitchen working hand in hand, and a training center in every local government. So, but now we've started with just one local government, because that's where I have some. Yeah. So right now we started by reaching out to the children of the street. I don't have pictures here, but we have pictures anyways. But we go out right now, like on Sundays, we cook raw food and then go and share the food to people on the street.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria.
Why you are still here in Ukraine?
Yeah. So, and we've been able to do that. We started January, and we're continuing it by God's grace. To just go out. This one now is let's just give them food to eat. Let them just have the food, the pack of rice or whatever food we want them to eat, and then go and give them the food to eat. And we started by God's grace as of last month, and we are continuing by God's grace, and by that we keep on building and keep growing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Today is your birthday as well.
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday, Dr. Anu.
Thank you so much, sir.
Many people might not know why we had to do the Kingdom Fruits today, because today is Dr. Anu Oluwapo Ojo's birthday. What would you like to tell people after hearing your story? Your story is so moving to people. I see a lot of likes and love and everything, and people are just excited, overwhelmed by your testimony and your transformation. So from all that, what will you tell?
This is a very big opportunity that I want to maximize. Okay, I want to give my word to the first category of people, and it will be to parents. And my word to parents is that, please try your possible best to help your children not to become who you want them to be, but for them to become who God wants them to be. And by that, what I mean is empower them, listen to them, talk to them, and let them realize that they were here on an assignment as early as possible. I mean, if from a very tender age you make them realize that they are not here to seek for jobs, but they are here on an assignment, they are here to fulfill a purpose, and you help them in discovering their purpose, I tell you of a truth that will be a great deal of help to them. Because by doing that, you're going to help them in really living out their lives. and living out God's purpose for their lives. So please, dear parents, I would encourage you to help your children to discover themselves. Help them to discover their purpose. And don't be pressured in telling them to become the kind of people that the world describes as successful or as great. But help them to discover who they are to become. The next advice I want to give is to young people like me.
Before you give the advice to young people, I would like to comment on the advice you gave just now to parents. Because somebody wrote me yesterday, or this week or last week, and told me about the fact that they started applying this principle of telling their children to read my books, especially Who Am I?
Yeah.
Some of the parents even said they will give their children, they will give them incentives.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you $10 if you finish the book and answer the questions. They said it has been revolutionary. Now they all say, we now know how to make our children become like your children. They used to just come and admire my children and say, your children are so this, but now they are now saying, some of them have said, there are 3 books, 4 books that their children have been reading.
Yeah.
That might be a way
to do that. I mean, it's so going to be. I mean, it will help their life. I'm trying to imagine if I had known all of these things. Like the things I know now, I'm trying to imagine that if this was the things that I was built on,
and the books are already available.
They're there. Yeah.
Just write, if you want them cheaper, the books cheaper, if you are living outside of Nigeria, just write to dsasbooks@gmail.com, and or you can get them on Amazon, or if you are in Africa, you could go to Shioma, and you get the books and begin to, even if you cannot read books, give incentives to your children and let them be reading, studying those books. They will become dangerous in the world. They will become the leaders of the world.
That's true. Even you will see it from their conversations. You will see it from their lifestyles. And I wanted to address the youths. People that are like me, young people who are vibrant, who have the strength, who are
following those same GOs like you are.
Yeah, I want to just tell you that please don't end up on your deathbed realizing that all you have been chasing all your life was just a mirage and was just shadow, because that would definitely become the end of anyone who is following the general idea of these big men of God wanting to build big ministries and have big houses, fly on private jets, and those things they're not bad, but there's more to your life than that. And it's never too young for you to start doing something meaningful with your life. As a matter of fact, the fact that you are young should be your greatest benefit. An asset. That you are young, you are vibrant, you have the strength, and you can chase your goals with every fiber of your being, and you can do everything that is necessary to become who you want to be. There is really a purpose attached to your life, and if you've not discovered your purpose, I encourage you, because if you've not discovered your purpose, you are just living a haphazard life.
So nothing. Somebody said, out of all the books they have read on purpose, that this is the most concrete. Not because it's this is what I had. I'm not the one who said it. I'm just quoting. Yeah. But you said you also read a lot of books on purpose.
Yeah.
Where will you place this?
I read this book, and for me, one thing that this book did was that it didn't just give me why I need to discover my purpose. Because many books talk about why you need to discover your purpose. The benefit of discovering your purpose, why discovering your purpose is important, but no practical questions that I need to
guidelines, checklist
to ask myself that will say, okay, ask yourself this question write your answer. Answer the next question, write your answer. And everything like that.
And like taking you by the hand and
Leading you to do it.
This is what
this book will offer you. I mean, this book will offer you, it will make you realize, I mean, the A to Z's of what is necessary on how to discover your purpose, your calling.
I normally tell people that it's not possible for you to answer all
those questions
and not discover yourself.
No,
you will discover more than one.
More. Yeah, you discover more. I mean, you discover more than what you even thought. Because, I mean, the questions are so direct. That, okay, what is this? And that was using for my school too. Many of the questions I hear was used for my school. And people could just, yeah. When I was young, I had this trait. I mean, I went through this experience.
Everybody begin to recognize it.
Well,
they wake up.
I had this all the while, but I never recognized it. But that's what this book could actually do. And even much more, there's a section in this book that talks about the reasons why people don't even fulfill their purpose and different things that impede people. So you'll be able to even resonate. Okay, maybe it's because I have this kind
very
of
practical.
Yeah, very practical, very helpful. And if there's anyone that wants to really discover his purpose, I mean, this book is going to help you. It will definitely help you, because I had a review with Maiwa on calling and purpose, and I was telling her that series is one of the series that actually woke me up to realize that hey, you're not just here just to be
on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah. On purpose and calling. That hey, wake up. Don't just live anyhow. There's something you didn't show up by happenstance. You are here for an assignment.
So they could even give the book to their children. The children themselves can read.
Yeah.
But for those who are asking that their children show them that one, they are too young. If your children are too young, then you yourself can take this particular one, how to create core values in a child. You can take this one and work with it together.
Wow.
With your.
As in, I'm just reading what is here, and it's amazing. As in, you are going to learn.
Yeah.
You're going to learn on the danger of a life without value.
You will teach your child that.
Yeah. On why it's dangerous to live a life without value. Number two is that you're going to learn how to work with your children. Wow. And that's what many parents don't even know how to do. And then you're going to learn the values that should form their core.
Their essence.
Their essence as individuals. Amazing. And you're going to learn how to raise children with godly values. That they will be able to go out
survive anywhere.
And then survive anywhere. And how to develop confidence in your child. You're going to teach them how they can be confident. I mean, every child wants to be confident. And not even being raised in a family.
But inferiority
complex it has done a lot of harm. So you're going to learn how to develop confidence in your child, how to develop love in your child, and many other amazing things in this.
And this is another one that will help your children who are already at least older than 10 years old.
Yeah, on creating your net worth, as in
create your own net
worth. Because I give an advice to parents because I know how important the parental role is, even with my own life. And this is one book that talks about how, not trying to derive
from somebody or from someone, looking for this, looking for that.
No, but your own network.
Self-sufficient. You will not be running after GEOs or the pastors
at all. I am a person, I am a personality. Am I a personality?
Yeah. Dangerous book. Dangerous book.
Oh dear.
This one is for adults.
Oh dear.
Or children who are over 18 years old.
Yeah. One amazing thing about this book is that it will make you come alive.
But it will make you cry first.
Yeah. It will make you cry first because you say, I've been a vegetable. I've just been living like a bad.
And I've been branded that I'm a very good doctor. Or I'm an engineer.
Yeah. Because I
am educated. I feel BA.
Yeah. To be a personality, very key. Very key. And I think everyone actually needs to get this book to read.
And another one that will help the young people.
I started reading this book already, and I'm almost done with it.
Dangerous.
I mean, I was annoyed.
One of the most important books in the whole wide world. Any human being can ever touch like this.
And read.
People don't know it. People just make it. People have an idea.
They're thinking it's just about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and that's
They
it.
don't know what it is.
When I started reading this book,
What did you say you regret? What?
wasted experiences in church. I'm like,
But you already regretted that one after you met
but it's
me.
different because now I understood what I could have made from it. I mean, I understood what I could have made from
Your life.
one service that I attended.
Every service.
Because this book, conversion will just be shouting on you. Conversion.
So if I say this is one of the most important books any human being can read, is
I
it?
mean, you are saying nothing but the truth. Because this book, I mean, we had the conversation today, and as we're talking today, I was remembering something I read in this book about picture too. That this book will help you to bring into
And
reality.
can you imagine it's just this thing like this?
Yeah,
Some people don't even know it exists.
it exists.
They ask what's the name of the book.
Raising the next generation of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Don't be just be deceived by Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and you think you're going to be seeing stories of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates.
Okay, that's what they think.
Yeah, because
That is a biography book.
yeah, maybe it's Steve
No, I
Jobs.
don't even write about them much here.
I mean, when you see it, you're going to see a lot of scriptures that. I mean, for me, one of the things that went baffled me is how you use scriptures and you explain scriptures and things like that. I'm like,
As if you've never read it.
I've been in church all these years. We have seen the scripture, we don't know the mechanism for this thing. Well, I mean,
It was a very practical book.
very practical book. I mean, you're going to really value your experiences with God. I mean, for me, it made
Now you know that Christians are the ones who are supposed to be ahead of those things.
of every other person because of the. I mean, we don't have to. Those guys, they have to struggle, put themselves into a rigorous. We have the Holy Spirit.
I would not even know how to use it.
We don't have to use it.
Happy birthday, Dr. Anu.
Thank you so much.
Your program today was Ula or whatever, Auna or whatever the Hispanics say. So it was amazing. It's just been a blown out one. And we're going to be back in 15 minutes, guys. 15-20 minutes. We'll be back. Thank you so much. We'll continue. I think the boys will still be here. We'll probably try to do what we did yesterday. Maybe if there are bad days to something, we'll not take them away from us now. So we'll try to continue the series on knowing God, knowing and understanding God through love. Peace.